Greetings, everyone. Hey, DFG here, Gideon's Flight, coming at you, talking to you from the graveyard. Hey, guys, I wanted to take a minute and share with you some critical information. I was going through and just, out of curiosity and concern, looking at the black murder rate for obvious reasons. There's a lot of killing going on in our country, a lot of killing of black men going on in our country. And, as a man of color, I would have to be pretty ignorant and unconcerning, irresponsible, and a piece of crap not to care about it. How about that? So because I do care, I did some research to take a look at what these numbers actually look like. And so I want to share this information that through my research that I found out with you, because I want you to be as concerned about these numbers as I am, and maybe even identify one or two root causes that could be contributing to these critical crisis-like numbers, okay? And I'm going to start off with first. When you look at the ages of from 15 to 35, okay, and I'll give it to you in buckets here. And I have some stats in front of me. And give me a second, I'm going to give you the stats. I think it's important. And these stats are from the U.S. Justice Criminal Statistics, or FBI Criminal Statistics. Age group. Now this is the #1 killers, okay, and it goes everything from, you can find unintentional, heart disease, cancer, etc. From 15 to 19 years old, the #1 killer of black men, homicide. From 20 to 24 years old, the #1 killer of black men, homicide. From 25 to 34, the #1 killer, black men, homicide. Homicide, homicide, homicide. And it's averaging about 50% of the cause of death for black men. Now, if you want to extrapolate that number, since 1980 to 2018, that's 260,000 black men that have been murdered. And what's even more concerning about it is that for every 100,000 black men, okay, for those murders that's 35 for every 100,000 black men are being killed by black men. For every 100,000, 28 black men are being murdered. Now, in comparison to white men, that number is 4.5 for every 100,000. That's 4.5 white men are being murdered by white men, and the offenders or the person who are perpetuating these murders of white men, 4.5, okay? And that's comparison to our numbers, 28, per 100,000 being murdered, 35 per 100,000 doing the murdering. That's almost 90% when you start looking at the whole number. So you start for blacks. And black as a population represents about 13% of the population. Black men, you've heard me share these numbers before, about 4 or 5% of the population. Okay, but when you look at overall population, for every black person, there's 7 white. But yet, when you look at the murder rate, that murder rate is almost 7 times higher for a black-on-black murder. And this is important. This cannot be, we cannot continue to sweep this under the rug. Every time an informed, concerned, black person starts speaking about these numbers, he or she is always at risk of being called an Uncle Tom, race traitor, and every other kind of derogative word. And I'm going to tell you guys, that's just to marginalize us. That is to be able to take the emphasis or the focus off of what's really going on. Because as long as you can call us Uncle Toms or race traitors or whatever idiotic, asinine terminology to marginalize us, then you can continue to feed the dragon. In other words, these murders continue to go on and on and on, because who else is talking about this? And if we're not talking about it, you tell me who's supposed to be talking about it. As a concerned black male, a mature elder, black elder, I am supposed to be concerned about this. And whether you like me talking about it or not, I'm going to say it anyway. But when you start talking about over the last 38 years, 260,000 plus black men have been murdered. That is a crisis, guys. And here, in addition, and to give you, just to kind of give you some framework to kind of give you an idea how bad this situation truly is. From 1886 to 1968, 1886, 1968, that's 86 years. Now we're talking about post-Reconstruction period all the way up to the Civil Rights period. Whites, in this case, Ku Klux Klan. You know how many black men they killed? 3,446. Black men are averaging that every 6 months in America. In 86 years. So if you think the problem is simply, what you call race killers, and you think that's what the problem is, then you are extremely naive or intentionally ignorant. All right? So you're either extremely naive or intentionally ignorant. And I do say intentional ignorant because you can find out this information just like I found this information. And when you start looking at that and looking at the numbers that I just shared with you, I mean, Vietnam, they have a monument to Vietnam soldiers who were killed in Vietnam, 58,000. That's how serious America took losing that many lives. Yet, in the last 38 years, we have had 5 times that number. Okay? Now, those are the numbers. And again, unfortunately, 90% of these murders have been perpetuated by black men on other black men. Now, here's something else that I found interesting, because from 1950 to 1980, it was about 5 per 100,000 black men murdered. 5. So what changed from 1950 to 1980 compared to 1980 to 2018? I want to tell you that what has changed is something, an adjustment, and what I would take a liberty here and say our culture, the black culture. Now, culture consists of many things. Your religion, your music, your dress, your behavior, your value system, etc. But collectively, black people have one particular measurement inside of that culture, music. The music, is pretty consistent. And yeah, I'm about to go. I know you're about to say, here you go, jumping on rap music. Yes, I am going after rap music. Because if you think about these numbers, if you were an adult, a young adult like I was in 1980, you know that murder rate started to increase when the NWA and Ice-T and all of these guys started all this kill, drug, kill, money, get money, any kind of way you can get money, type of behavior. Now, am I accusing, the rappers of killing anybody? No. But I am saying that your behavior has contributed to it. And I know you say, okay, well, they're not talking gangster rap anymore. The rap music today don't talk about killing. But it talks about getting money by any means necessary, doesn't it? Which subliminally, encourages hostility one towards another. Because I don't see these blacks going outside of the community getting this so-called money that these so-called rap artists, I can't call them so-called rap artists because they are rap artists. And so whether you're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, it does not matter. Your lyrics are contributing to it. Because when you look at these murders, under 25, I think the number sits somewhere around about 50% of these murders are being committed by men under 25 years old. So look at the number, under 25 years. So you're talking about men who were born around 1990. And right now, as we know, inside the black community, black on black crime is an epidemic. And again, now let me be clear. I know there are race soldiers inside of the police department and inside of the government and these racist, hate groups. I also believe that some of them are probably coming into the community, committing crimes and getting out of the community without anybody recognizing that they were in the community to commit the crime. But guys, I'm not naive, and neither should you be. You follow me? It's like somebody throwing the rock and putting their hand behind their back, to distract you, to make you think that when they throw the rock at you, put their hand behind the back and point that direction. Sort of like what they did when Dr. King was killed. You notice everybody was pointing that way on camera? How odd is that? The man is dead, laying down dead, and everybody's on camera pointing that way. Who took that picture and why? You think about that one. But coming back home here, what I want to say to every family, to every black male, every black female, you can no longer walk around in a state of cognitive dissonance. In other words, refusing to accept the uncomfortable truth for convenient lies. This music, guys, has had an effect on our community, detrimental effect on our community. This music does not talk about solutions. It talks about, get your rap on, get your gang on, get your drugs on, get your alcohol on, get your killing on and on and on. Misogyny included. And mothers out there, my heart goes out to you losing your children to this foolishness. And no men are talking about it, at least not at the level they ought to be talking about it. 260,000. That's over 250,000 black men dead in the last 38 years. And that number is escalating. You heard about what happened in Chicago. You heard about what happened in New Orleans this past weekend. And all the other weekends and summers before. And it's only going to get worse if we don't start having some sit-down, heart-to-heart, honest conversation about this. And I'm asking you to join us with Gideon's Flight, get involved, share this video, subscribe to this video, and help us fight this fight before it's too late. At some point down the road, guys, I believe that if we're not careful, we're going to be in a situation where we may be only thought of in remembrance. There was a time that there were men in this country who were called African American. Thank you for listening. More to come. Again, DFG from the graveyard. Guys, this ain't the place to be, but it seems pretty popular these days. Peace.